Right. Well, a very warm welcome to both of you, and brilliant to have you on the show this evening. I want to start with a story that is in the Times and in the Daily Telegraph. I think you're both really well placed to talk about this one. The Times, the headline there, Top Flight tells clubs be patient with VAR. The Times saying that the Premier League has asked its clubs and players to be mindful of criticising referees and to show them patience this season. Similar story in the Daily Telegraph as well, talking about VAR as well. Their headline, this an exclusive in the Telegraph, saying that managers veto VAR innovation. Premier League managers told Howard Webb in a private meeting last month they didn't want this new season innovation of referees announcing VAR decisions live on mic to crowds in stadiums, and the proposal now has been dropped. Jason, talk us through that, because you've been involved, but both of you have been involved in some of these meetings.
Yeah, the Premier League have been doing a round of briefings, obviously with various media, broadcasters and written media and radio and so on, explaining basically how they're going to tinker with VAR this season and hopefully make it more effective, and that continual process of improving it. And clearly it is improving, and we're talking about various innovations coming along later in the season, such as semi-automated offside, which I'm not quite sure why it's not starting now. I think they want to get the technology right, but it seemed to be perfectly fine at the Euros, but that's another case. But clearly what struck me today was almost the message of, well, you know, we're doing fine, leave us alone, don't criticise us, let us get on with it. And I think that's a little bit silly, to be honest with you, of the Premier League. I think there's been an awful lot of criticism of VAR, and rightly so. And I think, you know, what I think happens in these situations a little bit is we forget what football is for, and we forget who football is for. And it's for the fans, and the fans are the ones who are obviously paying their money. The fans are the ones who want to watch football and enjoy the football and be immersed in that experience. And that is happening. But I think at times the Premier League almost wants this sort of glossy interpretation of football whereby they're getting everything right and it's wrong to criticise them. And at the same time, we've got the managers who have been arch critics of VAR and use it as an excuse to sort of mask their own sometimes inefficiencies and poor performances and so on and so forth, being told firstly to stop criticising VAR, which is a little bit, as I say, naive. And secondly, they now are saying, well, we don't want decisions explained by the referees on field in the stadium. Now, their argument is it's going to slow down the whole process. Well, I mean, there is also that argument about why isn't the process quicker anyway? And one of the issues that was raised with the Premier League today was whether or not they thought about putting a sort of a time bar on, if you can't make a decision within a certain time frame, then obviously you move on. And again, they didn't want to do that. And I don't quite know why, but they don't want to do that. They obviously want to get it right, fair enough. But obviously one of the biggest issues, probably the biggest issue of all with VAR, is the time it's taking, which obviously the managers have now jumped onto. But I think everyone is sort of forgetting that actually this is about the fans and making sure the fans are being served properly. And obviously, again, one of the things that came out today was a survey from the Premier League saying that 4 out of 5 fans are in favour of VAR, which within minutes was sort of questioned by the Football Supporters Association, who said, well, we're not quite sure which fans you've been talking to. So I'm not sure it was a massively successful day for the Premier League, if I'm perfectly honest. And obviously we are all looking forward to the new season, but I think there are still issues to be addressed. And I think they need to speed up things in the way they do stuff, to speed up things in the way it happens on the pitch.
Yeah. Miguel, what's your take on it? Because obviously we're talking there very much about those VAR decisions not being put out into the stadium. That's what Jason's sort of focusing on, you know, this not being about the fans then if you're not doing that. But they have said, the Premier League, that in stadium they'll put some more on-screen messaging there. They'll put, you know, some more replays as well where they're relevant, and then not to do with the stadium, but they'll put more info out on social media.
Oh, yeah, that was one of the striking things about from that story in Jason's paper Telegraph about managers vetoing that, especially given the messaging from the Premier League all week and really since June and this initial meeting where the club has voted to keep VAR after a Wolves proposal. They have been intent on improving it, but also to improve transparency. And this, I suppose, veto by the managers is one thing that works against that. And just picking up on one point Jason made there as well, about kind of the general vibe of the Premier League and the messaging sent today. I mean, also this issue of speed and maybe also a little bit of a sense of obstinacy that Jason picked up on. You could also apply that to the Premier League on regulatory issues right now, especially given how much has come up about the City case and all sorts of other off-field issues that were another theme of today that we'll get onto. But yeah, obviously VAR, because this is the game as it's played in the pitch, has been dominant. On one side, I think they are taking some decent steps. They've got a decent steps to improve transparency. They've got this 6-point plan. But equally, when a lot of us were in kind of these meetings today, one of the lines that immediately jumped out to all of us was basically, this message to managers and clubs, criticism of VAR damages the competition. Because, I mean, well, you could say the ultimate improvement in the competition's image that way, just making sure VAR works correctly.